my name is Liz Dayton. If you don't remember me, I'm the one who talked about fear last week, and I can report it's gotten a little bit better. Okay, and that's why I think that life is just absolutely incredible. Did you guys know that there are actually rocks that travel across the desert? Raise your hand if you knew that. Yeah, is that nuts or what? So they're called sailing stones, and the reason that I think that they're absolutely incredible is because the density, they just are literally these rocks that travel across the desert, right? And what happens is the density of the rock is perfect for the density and fineness of the sand. So because they're just so perfectly proportional, as the earth rotates, the rock stays in the same place and it just slowly makes a drag line. Is that not so crazy? That's pretty crazy, right? Absolutely unbelievable. That's something new that I figured out. And as unbelievable as that is, looking at another thing that kind of applies more to us, something that I was really thinking about is dreams. And so dreams are also absolutely incredible. Did anybody do any high school sports? Okay, so do you guys ever have the dream where you're about to be put in, or you're late for the game, but you can't find your shoes or your jersey, and then I have my 5'2" coach just yelling at me to go in anyways, and I'm just playing in my socks? Yeah. So I still have those all the time, and I wake up wondering why I've been in college for 2 years and why on earth I still have them. And what happens is the brain, it can memorize everything we see, everything. And though we don't really know that because we're so worried about everything that we're interacting with, as we're asleep, it organizes our thoughts and it organizes what we viewed and what we've smelled and tasted and touched. And so it kind of goes over and it places those into pictures in our heads, and those are dreams. Is that not the craziest, coolest thing ever? Okay, absolutely unbelievable. Even more unbelievable is the fact that I just made those things up. Did anyone believe me? Yeah, heck yeah. Yes, I totally made those up. And the craziest part is that actually nobody knows the answers to either of those two things. Nobody knows why. Those stones are real things, sailing stones, but nobody knows why they do it. As well as dreams. We all know dreams happen, but as many hypotheses as there are, nobody knows for sure why we even have them. In fact, you can't even prove why we sleep. And so this is the magic of ambiguity. There's so many things we don't know in life, and yet we just keep on living our good lives anyways. And that's how it should be. But there are a lot of people who let this fear of the unknown really affect them. The definition of ambiguity is when it's unclear or unknown, right? And even that definition is in itself ambiguous, which is kind of funny. And it can be scary, but it's everywhere. In order to live our best, most clueless self, we have to recognize it, recognize other people's human limits, and be able to act in faith. Recognizing ambiguity helps our quality of life. The University of Illinois found that anxiety, panic, and phobias can all be from fear of the unknown. It's real and it really affects people physically. It's so real. Think about when, disclaimer, you learned about the Easter Bunny. Were you guys shattered? Or did you not care? Or was it a long process of thinking, oh, this doesn't really, and bunny going and putting eggs all over the world doesn't really make sense. And that's ambiguity. And recognizing it from when we're younger to older is so important in handling our own mental health. We also need to recognize human fault. No one is perfect, and we can't hold people to that. We need to still believe in them and believe in their best selves, but we also need to recognize that we let people down and they let us down as well, so that we can be understanding. And we need to recognize there's ambiguity in people and their lives and the decisions they make and in the consequences of those decisions. It was Jesus who said, "Let thine accuser cast the first stone." And after nobody did, he said, "Show me thine accusers." And think about it, we can't hold people to these crazy, expectations. And especially when we know we can't do it ourselves. We also learned that our parents aren't perfect. That's one of the mind-shattering things of ambiguity that's super interesting to us as college students. We get older and we realize, wow, like as much as they're our heroes, they really did this, maybe not awesome, or they're really especially good at this. And sometimes our realities are shattered, and just remembering that they're people and humans who've gone through what we have is super important in keeping our reality checked. Now, do we just sit and ponder and recognize our ambiguity and recognize human nature and just sit and think? No way. We have to act in faith because we have degrees to earn and dreams to chase. Bruce C. Hafen said, "All I ask is we who go to college may be honest and brave enough to face uncertainties. Try to understand and do something about them. We love church, we love our faith. We may not understand everything, but that doesn't diminish our love. Love is not blind, love is bounded. And the more it is bounded, it is blind, not blind." We may not know about rocks and we may not know about dreams, but we do know that we all live together here, and we all have the capacity to recognize what we don't know, to recognize the people we're around, we don't always know their situation, and to act. And even though we don't know what's going to happen, to be brave and do what we feel we need to anyways. Thank you.